House correspondent John Roberts, who's traveling with the president in West Palm Beach, Florida. John.
Dana, good afternoon to you. In this news that South Korea and North Korea are talking about the idea of possibly burying a hatchet that has existed since the end, or at least the calling of a ceasefire at the end of conflict on the Korean Peninsula, hit just as Larry Kudlow, the chief economic advisor, and Matt Pottinger, who is the president's point person on East Asia affairs at the NSC, were briefing the press. Shinzo Abe, who the president is going to meet with later this afternoon, has got some real concerns about a meeting between Kim Jong-un of North Korea and the president, worrying that when the president cuts some sort of deal to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula, if that is possible, that Japan's interest may not be fully taken into account. Talks with Kim are clearly a big concern for a lot of players in the region, but Japan in particular. I asked Pottinger about that this afternoon. He said that Japan's security interests fall in line with America's national security interests. I also asked him how this idea of a peace deal between North Korea and South Korea could possibly change the calculation for the president's sit-down with Kim Jong-un, which the president said would happen either in late May or early June. Here's what Pottinger said off camera.
He's staying in very close coordination and contact with President Moon, and at the level below the president's, there's probably a higher degree of coordination taking place than has ever taken place since the end of the Korean War. There'll be plenty of time to talk about the goals of that inter-Korean summit and how they might mesh with goals for President Trump's own.
One of the big concerns that Shinzo Abe has is that if the Korean Peninsula were denuclearized, that there might not be the need for such a big American footprint in the region, and that might reduce the security umbrella. But again, Pottinger said that Japan's security falls right in line with America's national security, so likely that Japan's security concerns will be taken into consideration. One other point that Pottinger made: there's a narrative coming out of Japan that this announcement of the possible Kim sit-down with President Trump came as a surprise. Pottinger said as close as the United States is with Japan, he doesn't see how it could have been a surprise. Dana?
And then there's the other issue in Syria. The White House, I'm curious what they're saying about the bipartisan war authorization bill in Congress. This came up before during the Obama administration, and it seems to have new legs now.
It does, because Senators Corker and Tim Kaine of Virginia, who are on the Foreign Relations Committee, have got a new draft authorization for the use of military force, which specifically lays out the president's authorities to go after groups like Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, the Taliban, and ISIS, but doesn't specifically spell out what the president could do in a case like he did over the weekend in attacking Syria. The White House does not have an official position on the new AUMF, except to say this afternoon, Dana, that they are comfortable with the current AUMF. They think that it covers everything that the president would possibly need to do. So I guess that, in a way, is saying we don't need a new one, and therefore we don't support the new one. But the White House only saying this afternoon they're comfortable with authorities contained in the existing AUMFs.
All right, John Roberts, thank you.